What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again with yet another Brawl Stars video. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about the recent update and answering the question, is Brawl Stars completely pay to win? As you guys can see on my top left here, oh, fail, I did the wrong hand there, but I'm going to switch it up one time. We got Mr. Alex with DLG in the house. What's going on, my man?
Yo, what's up, my dude? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good here. A lot of things to talk about. We got this recent update that Supercell put out on Reddit here. Let's talk a little bit about it. What you got going on there?
All right, yeah. So, surprisingly, Supercell already has another update coming our way. Super excited about that. But there's good and bad news. Number one, there's a lot of buffs and nerfs coming to us. For example, Crowe is getting a nerf. I don't know about you, Childish, but I absolutely hate versing Crows.
Yes, I'm in the same boat as you. Despite the fact that I am a Crowe user, yeah, I definitely agree.
So he's getting a nerf. Super exciting about that. I also, and I said this on my video yesterday, I really think that what's his name, Colt also needs a nerf, and they're gonna be releasing a full list of who's getting buffs and nerfs, but they're still kind of deciding all that, so that hasn't been dropped yet. So good news on that. Another great news is that the ticket system, everyone's been complaining about that they expire.
Right.
No longer. After this next update, no longer will the tickets expire. You can save them up. You can rack them up as long as you want. So I don't know about you, but I personally only have like another 2 tickets saved up since this, because I spent all of my tickets on the boss mode.
Right. I got about 6 saved up, but yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get some more here. I got a couple of Brawl boxes to open down the road, so.
Right. So that works out for everybody, but then we come to the bad news, and it's that they're taking away our coin boosters, not the coin doublers, those are still staying, but the coin boosters themselves, the 20 gem, double your coins for a week, or I think it's like 50% more.
Right.
They're taking those away. They're taking them out of the game completely.
Yeah. So initially, me personally, like obviously it's gonna hurt, and we'll get into it a little bit here, but I kind of wish they played around with maybe how many days they gave us versus just taking it out completely, kind of reduce it here. What's your thought on that?
Well, they actually commented, and they said that the reason that they were taking them away is so that it kind of gave them more, what they call wiggle room, to have extra events that could bring in more coins, just so that maybe the economy wouldn't, be over flooded with coins. This is their reasoning. For me personally, I think they just are trying to move to a slightly more, profitable scenario for them, where we're personally getting a few less coins, so we're not progressing as fast, which means people aren't hitting end game as fast, which keeps people kind of sustained in the game longer. I think that's really what they're trying to move towards. I don't know, how are you feeling about it?
I'm pretty much the same way. I mean, obviously I would love to have everybody have the opportunity to get the coin boosters. When I was playing the game early on, I feel like the coin booster, coin doubler really gave me a lot more opportunities to get, the brawlers that I need, or, just upgrades and whatnot, elixirs to max my monsters, or brawlers here, excuse me. But, obviously there's a lot of changes that have been made over the last 60 to 90 days. And again, like you said before, Supercell really have been taking the time to analyze and think about what is the best way to go if they're trying to get to that, global launch. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Me too, man. It's kind of a blow to everybody with this, however.
Right. And let's kind of get into it here. So what we got for you guys today is like 4 to 5 points that we really want to knock out, to try to argue on both sides. Is this game completely pay to win? With the recent update, like we talked about before, a lot of changes have gone, in push of the whole pay to win aspect here. Being able to max out your brawlers and get that big crest, so that the star power, so that you can go ahead and get their special ability. Of course, free-to-play players are a little bit, upset about that, but we have some things to talk about here. First one that I want to hit up is a generalized topic that we can talk about any essentially free-to-play game, right? Brawl Stars. It is a game that you can literally download right now. Obviously, not everybody can download it, but you can download it. Get a Canadian ID, download it on iTunes, and play it. You don't have to spend any kind of money to start the game, right? So what does that mean? From the company's perspective, it's great to bring in new people, bring in a new audience, but at the end of the day, they are a company, they are a business. They have to figure out a way of creating revenue for the company, and if they're not making enough money, they may not be able to go to launch, right? So there has to be some kind of give and take on both ends. So on behalf of myself and DLG, we got to give a shout out to all the whales out there. God bless your hearts for keeping this, keeping those people at the Supercell doing well.
Thank you,
thank
whales.
you, whales. We love you to death. What's your thoughts about that particular topic there, Alex?
Well, I think you're probably more on the end of that. This is, it's not too pay to win. For me personally, I mean, some would argue that the model that Brawl Stars follows, it doesn't have to be this way. For example, I constantly relate Brawl Stars to this game League of Legends, where they're kind of the same model in the sense that they have a ton of different champions, what we call brawlers, and their model is that, yeah, you can buy the champions, but you can also just play games and earn points to unlock them, so you don't have to buy them. How many champions you own doesn't affect your ranking in the game. And then on top of that, the place where they get the most money is from cosmetics only, which doesn't affect in-game. So there actually really isn't a pay-to-win aspect at all to League of Legends. And League of Legends makes so much money. So if we're talking money-wise and profitability for the company, they could go this League of Legends route, but they're not. They're not, actually, because there are almost no skins. Like, Daryl doesn't have a skin. Piper still doesn't. Poco doesn't. Poco has been in the game since the start, and he still doesn't have a skin. It's like, you could really be maximizing your revenue from these cosmetic things, and they're not doing it. So, on that end, I feel like they kind of are pay to win.
Yeah, I agree with you on that aspect. But one thing that you did mention a little bit earlier off camera is that out of all the pay to win games, you actually feel that this is probably one of Supercell's least pay to win game out of all of them they've made.
That is true. Yeah, out of all their games, for example, take Clash Royale. Clash Royale, dude, or Clash of Clans, you are spending over 10, 15, 20,000. Talk about whales, dude. Dude, the whales in our pond are like little mini fish compared to those whales. So the positive is that, yes, this is the least pay-to-win game Supercell has ever dropped. And it's also the most competitive game Supercell has ever dropped. So we do have to give props to Supercell in that respect, that the potential for esports here is almost mind-blowing. Like, it's going to be so huge. And the fact that it's not as pay-to-win as the other games, hopefully they stay that way. Hopefully they don't, because the path they're kind of marching down right now is they're slowly increasing the gap between pay-to-win and free-to-play and pay-to-win and max. So it's slow. I don't know if they continue the trend they're on, it could end up being closer to something like Clash Royale, but where we stand right now, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. And let's get on to that first topic here. This is one of the things that I think a lot of people forget about when it comes to the topic at hand, is that when you're a free-to-play player, right, you're not going to get a ton of opportunities, or as many opportunities as a pay-to-win player, to get the brawlers you need right then and there, right? But the cool thing about it, think about it, if you're thinking like the half full glass kind of mentality, is that if you're limited on brawlers, while it may be rough because certain brawlers excel in certain parts of the game, this allows you to go ahead and focus on the brawlers that you have and work on your skill. This is a skill-oriented game, and there could be a ton of value in learning your brawler before you start getting into a ton of different bands and start working with other teammates here. There's been a ton of times where when I was climbing up and whatnot, basically the match was thrown away because one or two players did not take the time to really understand the brawler that they have, how it works well, how it synergizes with the rest of their party. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that, and I said this off camera, I think that the time we're in is phenomenal, because we can, like you said, I agree with you. We can focus on these limited pool of brawlers right now here. As someone who joins Brawl Stars a year from now, 2 years from now, imagine what the Brawl Stars pool is going to be. It's gigantic. It's going to be overwhelming. They're going to be spread thin on, mastering characters. So I agree with you in the sense that right now this is great. Yeah, I would definitely recommend just focus on, maybe even narrow it down even more. Like, focus on just a couple of brawlers, get really good at them, and then move on. And that's what's great about Brawl Stars. I mean, there's arguments for both sides, but pretty much what's great about Brawl Stars is that it's still skill-based. You can still master a brawler, and you can still compete with that brawler no matter what the elixir, whatever. I'm sorry, not the elixir. That's the old system.
Right.
Whatever the power amount on the brawler is, you can still compete even with a max brawler. You arguably can still win. Now, some may argue that certain star powers are, more game changing and hard to compete with. Hard to compete with. Not having it. Like, you absolutely essentially need it. But for the most part, I would probably agree with you. That this is that you can still compete with the brawlers you have.
Definitely. And so, talking about the second to last update, the big overhaul, one of the things that got thrown out, the elixirs, the chips that got thrown out, these things all kind of got converted to either gems or the tokens, and now we have the opportunity to get the pins, the badges, the crest, and of course the star power. This is one thing that I'm kind of excited about as a not as a free-to-play player, but for the free-to-play player community, is that there is really no value loss. And let me try to explain that, because that's not going to sound too well. When you think about the original way, you could get duplicate brawlers and you get the chips, and yes, down the road you can potentially get that one, epic brawler or legendary brawler if you do. But let's be honest, as a free-to-play player, it's going to take a very, very long time to get to that route. And so when I think about it now, being able to get these pins, medals, the medals, the badges, they're only going to be available for the brawlers that you have, which means you're going to be able to improve the units, right then and there. And then in addition to that, getting these tokens, while we may get the 10 token mark, right, at least there's no value lost. It will be able to be used on something that you need to improve, all day, versus opening up a big box and 9 out of the 10 pulls being a brawler that you already have, and then having like a legendary elixir that just makes you cringe to no end, right? It's pretty rough here. So there's some kind of value in everything that we get.
Yeah, some people might miss the old system. Sometimes I do miss the old system in the sense that, okay, the 10 elixir the 10 tokens now kind of hurt. Like, you pull, I don't know about you, but for me personally, I've only pulled 10 tokens out of every box that I've gotten. And as we know, 10 tokens is like a fourth of an elixir. Now, Supercell personally argues that it's still pretty much the same, because, you have the chance to pull a 10 tokens, but you also have a chance to pull an 1,000 token star power. So if you average all that out, it's still, spread out pretty evenly. I haven't personally experienced that yet. So we'd have to take Supercell's word on that. Like, do you agree with Supercell? Because I don't know, I'm kind of not with Supercell on this one.
I can go either way. I see the pros and cons to it. It's hard because I know Supercell maybe watches, so I don't want to knock on it. But I think that like we talked about kind of offline, I think despite all the changes that have been made, there's still a couple of tweaks, and they've kind of acknowledged that the game is not where it needs to be. There's still a couple of tweaks with regards to their current system that needs to be improved so that they can keep both everybody happy in the community. And it's going to be hard to get it done, but I feel like it can be done.
Right.
So next one that we got going on here, basically kind of relating to the first one, free to play ballers here, is it's a skill based game. We talked about that a little bit versus like an RNG or leg based game. While there is RNG in getting the rare brawlers that you can obtain by means of the brawl boxes, the game is a skill based MOBA. You need to work together, unless you're doing Showdown, right? You need to work together in a 3v3 format in order to accomplish your goal or objective. And so I always got to tip my hat off to the people out there that do take the time to go through the process, the pain of trying to learn your brawlers day in and day out. Because once you really capitalize on its skill set, you can just see your trophies climb up and up and up. And while you're always going to have that opponent that you'll fight that you lost because of some crazy thing happened, ultimately you understand why you lost, and then you use that opportunity to go ahead and prove in your gameplay, in future matches and whatnot. So I'm really excited about that aspect, that it is skill based, because no matter the fact that I have a maxed out account, I still am losing to people that have 5 less brawlers than me, and these people have upwards of 2,000 more trophies than me. It's pretty impressive what they could do with the limited amount of stuff that they have, and it goes back to that first main topic, Alex.
Right. I agree with you. I kind of agree with you, because I agree with you in the sense, like, if you compare this again back to Clash Royale, you have, like, I don't know if you ever played Clash Royale, but, like, you have, like, a level 1 skeleton giant versus a level 10 skeleton giant, it doesn't matter how much skill you have, like you have a 99% chance you're not gonna beat them. So with this, however, with Brawl Stars, though, in the current state it's in, you have a non-maxed out brawler, you can still beat potentially a max brawler. It's unfortunately harder now, because of the recent update. But I also understand why Supercell is doing that. We need longevity in the game. We also need sustainability. We need the monetization has to be there for Supercell to even keep this game alive, for it to even go global. So I understand. I'm not the most happy with it, but as far as skill wise goes, I think I can agree with you to the sense. The only thing there might be a chance to disagree is that certain star powers may fundamentally change the character. So, for example, like let's take Jessie. Jessie's attack heals the turret. Now this can be critical because you can keep the turret alive longer. And on top of that, you have a fixed point as Jessie to constantly hit that, and that bounces off and hits other enemies, theoretically. So to me, I guess it would come down to each brawler star power questioning, does this change her enough that it's absolutely needed, to play the character versus another maxed character, you know what I'm saying? So I think for the most part, yeah, it's absolutely skill based. You can beat anybody, but there are certain star powers that give you quite a bit of a leg up that it's hard to argue when it comes to certain brawlers, like maybe Mortis, for example, where every time someone dies, a skull drops. That's healing all around the map for him. How are you supposed to compete with a zero powered Mortis versus a max powered Mortis, and on top of that, he also has heals all around the map for him to get a leg up on.
It's simple. Get good. Get good. No, but real talk here. You make a good point, and I do agree with the points that you make. But just to kind of think about where we're at in the game and all the updates. Supercell is definitely one of the companies that have really put forth a ton of effort into providing the balance changes. I mean, we were just talking not even a week ago about the upcoming UI, the big overhaul, and then a little over a week now they're going to be doing some more fine tuning. That just kind of goes to show, what the improvements that they're trying to make, and they understand that there needs to be some things changed. I agree. Certain star powers definitely need to be considered. Some of them are pretty darn OP right now. But ultimately, I feel confident in their ability to recognize those flaws and then improve them, which again is, partially the reason why they have not gone launch date. There's just a ton of things to consider, a ton of things to think about, and I feel pretty confident that they'll be able to go global here next year.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I agree with you.
Some of the things that we wanted to make note on with regards to the free-to-play, they took a hit, but pay-to-play players also took a hit. As a pay-to-play player, one of the things that we could do is we can dump a ton of money into it and obtain those chips. And of course, if for those that are new to the game or just found this channel randomly, welcome to the channel. Up there, right? Oh, let me point out. That's Alex. If you don't know, okay. And for those people that didn't know, we could use those chips and basically buy certain brawlers outright. Now, with regards to the game itself, you can spend a certain amount of gems and get yourself a mythic brawler, epic brawler, super rare, right? You can get all those, but you cannot get a legendary brawler outright. Whereas the old style, you can get the chips over time and then ultimately buy each legendary brawler, which obviously for pay-to-win players gave them a really good advantage because that's a super rare brawler that people can't obtain, and so for them to just buy it outright may seem a little unfair to the community. That has been taken away, and basically now they got the RNG that everybody else has to deal with, and hopefully getting a legendary brawler with one of their brawl boxes pull. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they free to play definitely took a hit. I'm sorry, pay to win definitely took a hit with not being able to buy legendaries. It wasn't the biggest hit because 500 chips is still a whole lot to raise, but it was definitely still a hit. And then on top of that, they also took the hit with this taking away the coin boosters, which was the most efficient way to spend your gems. So if they were thinking more like long term, they took a hit. If they're thinking short term, like just let me buy a ton of boxes, like on the spot, it wasn't a hit for them in that sense. But overall, yes, free to play. Pay to win definitely took a hit. Not be able to buy legendaries, not be able to be the most efficient with your gems. Hopefully, maybe they'll come out with I don't know, maybe like different more bundles or
Right.
something for them.
got
Like
to.
there's because it hurts so much to spend 10 gems on a box and get 10 tokens.
It does.
You know what I'm
Yeah, it
saying?
does.
Where you could have spent 20 gems and you could have had 50% more coins for an entire week. Like that being taken away, that really hurts. That kind of hurts everybody, honestly.
Yeah, free to play or pay to win. And like I was telling you early on, I was like, man, I wish they just maybe if they thought that a week was too much, maybe they just change it to like 3 days or 5 days. You know, just brought it down a little bit so
Right.
they can get a little bit more
Yeah.
value, have people replenish. I mean, I get it though. There was some times where I was pulling boxes left and right, and I would be sitting there for like 16 days worth of coin boosters. I mean, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
again, those were some of the topics that we were thinking about. When considering the question, is Brawl Stars completely pay to win? We're really, really looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback. Please put it in the comment section down below. Let's get in a debate. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys talk about. As always, Mr. Alex, I want to leave you with that last part of the video. Any final thoughts when it comes to this update, Brawl Stars, where it's sitting right now?
The only thing that really gives me hope that I just keep remembering is that while we are in beta, Brawl Stars is looking to see if this is efficient enough money-wise for them to go global. Like they could make money, but are they making enough money to be like, yes, we're making enough money, we really want to invest in this, let's make it global. So though this may hurt a little bit, it also can be looked at it in a positive light where it's like, okay, they're gearing towards making more money, which means there's a higher chance of it going global, which we all want it to go global. This game is an amazing game. It's going to be amazing when it goes global. So I try to look at it. I always try to look at everything in the positive. Right. So, that's the positive I'm taking away from this, that, okay, we're moving closer to global. So just keep that in mind.
Definitely. And when it comes to the positive aspect, if you guys are not familiar with Doing Like Gaming Okay, definitely go ahead and check out his channel. I'm going to leave a link in the description down below as he provides a ton of Brawl Stars content that can help you right now, right? So that's going to be it, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish and Alex with ChildishPlays checking out. Take care, and we will see you all in the next Brawl Stars video. I'm out.